According to several insider sources in the technology industry, the company Apple is preparing for one of the most unusual and symbolic experiments of recent years, which is already generating enormous interest among fans of the brand and technology collectors around the world. It is about a project which at first glance sounds almost unbelievable for a company known for its advanced smartphones and its constant striving toward the technological future. Sources claim that Apple is considering the possibility of releasing a limited line of button iPhones, a device which will become a kind of bridge between the past and the future of mobile technologies. In essence, this will not just be another smartphone, but an experimental concept which is supposed to trigger a powerful wave of nostalgia and at the same time show how ideas of the past can be reinterpreted using the most modern technologies of the company. According to people familiar with internal discussions, this project inside Apple is seen more as a symbolic gesture and a design experiment, rather than as a full new line of devices. Nevertheless, the idea itself has already become one of the most discussed topics among analysts, because Apple rarely makes such moves without a serious strategic reason. According to leaks, inside the company, the project is viewed as an attempt to create a special collectible product, which will be released in a limited edition and intended primarily for fans of the brand, technology enthusiasts, and collectors. The device itself is still kept under strict secrecy, and even inside the company, access to information about it is heavily restricted. However, insiders claim that the design will be made in the signature aesthetic of Apple, with the use of premium materials, the characteristic minimalist philosophy, and incredible attention to detail, for which the company has been famous for many years. If these sources are to be believed, the button iPhone will not simply be a copy of old phones. On the contrary, Apple allegedly wants to create a device which will combine the tactile feeling of real physical buttons with the intelligent capabilities of modern technologies, including artificial intelligence, an advanced security system, and integration with the company's ecosystem. Imagine a device which at first glance resembles a classic button phone from the early 2000s, but at the same time hides powerful artificial intelligence algorithms inside, capable of processing voice commands, analyzing information, and interacting with other Apple devices. Some analysts suggest that such a product could become a kind of demonstration of how Apple is able to turn even the most unexpected ideas into objects of technological art. After all, if we look back, many of the company's products once also seemed like risky experiments, but eventually became iconic devices. It is also interesting that this project allegedly appeared inside the company against the background of growing user interest in simpler digital devices. In recent years, the phenomenon of digital fatigue has been discussed more and more often when people begin to get tired of endless notifications, social networks, and the constant flow of information. Against this background, many users begin to look for more minimalist devices which allow them to stay connected, but at the same time do not overload a person with information. It is precisely in this context that the button iPhone may turn out to be not just a nostalgic experiment, but a kind of philosophical statement by Apple that the technologies of the future can be not only powerful, but also more conscious. Sources claim that inside the company, the idea is even being discussed to position the device as a special product for those who want to reduce digital noise in their lives, but at the same time remain part of the Apple ecosystem. Of course, for now, all this remains at the level of rumors and leaks. However, the very fact of discussing such a device has already generated a huge wave of interest. Some experts believe that Apple in this way is testing the reaction of the audience and studying potential demand for such concepts. After all, the history of the technology industry shows that sometimes the most unexpected ideas turn out to be the most successful. Another reason for the interest in this project is that Apple has always paid enormous attention to the emotional connection between users and technology. Many people around the world remember their first phones with buttons, remember the characteristic sound of pressing the keys, the simplicity of the interface, and the feeling of physical interaction with the device. In the era of fully touch screens, these sensations have almost disappeared, but for many, they remain part of a personal technological history. That is why the idea of a button iPhone may turn out to be much more powerful from the point of view of marketing and emotions than it seems at first glance. According to insiders, inside Apple, several possible design options for the device are being considered. One of the concepts supposedly assumes a compact body with a small screen and a neat keyboard made of aluminum or glass ceramic, where each button will have characteristic illumination and the signature tactile feedback. Another option assumes a more experimental approach, where the keys will be integrated into the body and react to the force of pressing thanks to advanced pressure sensors. In both cases, the device will look like a premium technological object, not simply like a retro phone. Separate attention, according to rumors, is being paid to the software. Apple may create a special version of the interface adapted for physical buttons, while preserving the key capabilities of the ecosystem, including synchronization with iCloud, access to the main services of the company, and intelligent functions of the voice assistant. Thus, the device may become a unique hybrid of a classic phone and a modern intelligent assistant. It is also interesting that the closed presentation of this project, according to sources, may take place already at the end of the current year. It is assumed that the company will show the device at a closed event for a limited circle of partners and journalists, after which a limited release for collectors will begin. It is precisely the limited edition that may become one of the main features of the project. Apple allegedly is considering the possibility of releasing only several tens of thousands of devices, which will automatically turn them into a rare technological artifact. For collectors of Apple products, such devices may become a real treasure, because the history of the brand knows many examples when rare products over time became incredibly valuable. At the same time, sources emphasize that inside the company, this project is viewed precisely as a one-time action. Apple does not plan to create a full line of button smartphones and is not going to return to mass production of such devices. This project is rather conceived as a symbolic gesture and a design experiment, which should show the company's respect for its technological history and at the same time demonstrate its ability to reinterpret the past. However, in the technology world, there is always one important rule. If an experiment generates enormous interest from the audience, companies sometimes change their plans. And if it suddenly turns out that demand for such devices is much higher than expected, it is quite possible that Apple will reconsider its strategy. After all, the technology market is constantly changing, and unexpected ideas sometimes open completely new directions for development. For now, all this remains at the level of rumors and insider information. However, the very fact of discussing such a device already shows how interesting and unpredictable the strategy of one of the most influential technology companies in the world can be. Perhaps this experiment will remain only a rare collectible product, which will appear for a short time and then disappear, becoming part of the legends of the technology industry. Or perhaps it is precisely from such an unusual experiment that a new chapter in the history of mobile devices will begin, where the technologies of the future will unexpectedly meet the ideas of the past. And if Apple really decides to take such a step, it will not simply be the release of a new device, but a true cultural moment, which will once again make millions of people around the world discuss what the phone of the future might be.